Spencer. Thank you for coming on to the Small City Big Podcast. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm lucky to be able to hear a little bit about your story, who you are, and your adventure and journey in Salmon Arm. So why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about you and how you came to be in Salmon Arm?
Okay. I originally moved to Salmon Arm in 2000 from Ontario. My parents opened the Tim Hortons at the top of the hill. So I was, coming from, a big city to a really small city at a young age and made that adjustment and, grew up in Salmon Arm, graduated at SAS, did a couple courses at Okanagan College, and then took off for...
Spread your wings.
Yeah, took off for about 15 years and moved back, 2020.
In 2020?
Yeah.
So you were gone for 15 years?
Pretty well, yeah.
What did you do in that time?
I went to university in New Brunswick for undergrad in political science. Then I did a master's degree in Ottawa, at the University of Ottawa, in mediation and conflict.
Wow.
So you kind of slowly worked my way west and was in Vancouver and then down to the Kootenays and now back here.
And not back here. And you picked up a lovely co-pilot in the Kootenays.
Yeah, well, we actually met in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
My wife lived above the fish store that I was working at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was a Hallmark movie. Fish and love, and then we moved down to the Kootenays and have a couple kids and live here now.
Amazing. Okay, so when you came back to Salmon Arm, you moved kind of home, let's say, and you're ready to, something's got to transpire out of this, and so you start a business.
Yeah, so when we lived in the Kootenays, I had turned this 70s bowler camping trailer into a food truck, mainly because when we first moved there, all I did was snowboard. I didn't really work, so I was always going into the grocery store to the meat department, and they would be asking me, what are you doing? And I'd always be asking for these random cuts of meat, and then finally they was like, why don't you just work here? And I was like, okay, we'll do this. So I did that, and then I built this food truck, and we be at the brewery there, and then I started doing the festival circuit, and we started getting into catering, and so I started the food aspect of Cahoots in Rossland, and then when I moved back to Salmon Arm, it was COVID, so that opportunity wasn't really around for quite a while, which that was fine with me for that time.
Yeah.
And it gave us some time to kind of figure out the path forward.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to do the festival circuit as much anymore, and get more into the catering aspect.
Yeah.
So we started developing that, and that just kind of took off.
And it took off. And it really took off. That's how I was introduced to you, is Spencer is catering, and he, this big deal, and does all these amazing dinners, and, and so I'd love to hear, how did it take off? Was that, you just organically kind of, or were you pushing really hard?
No, I think, growing up here, I still knew a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so when that, we moved back, and I was like, okay, I'll start doing these dinners. We'll start doing small stuff. And, start doing this. And then I just kind of traveled, I think, through word of mouth to people that knew me. And we started doing a few public things. And then, just kind of, I don't know, just kept going.
You just snowballed.
Yeah, just snowballed. And it was great. It was fun.
Yeah. I feel like a common conversation that I have with people about here is the community spirit and the sort of I don't know, we all just jump on board when we like something. Yeah. And I think that's, you created something that we didn't have, or was your own style, and people really liked it. And that community spirit just came in and was like, let's go, let's make this happen. Yeah. So with catering, in Salmon Arm, so we have 100 farms within Salmon Arm. We've got 600 within the region. the climate's pretty amazing for food, producing food. So can you speak a little bit about doing business in Salmon Arm in food industry, and your accessibility to local produce and all of that?
Sure. Yeah, I, like you said, like there's almost a time of overwhelming abundance of stuff to pick from. Right now, like it's asparagus season, so we're crushing asparagus from Armstrong every weekend. We try and do things seasonally as much as we can. So yeah, like I said, right now it's asparagus. We're getting a lot of microgreens in from around the area. Like last Saturday, I popped down to the farmer's market and grabbed 5 clamshells of micros for 2 weddings that we're doing. And then, as we move in, like we'll start getting corn from DeMille's, their stone fruit, everything like that.
Yeah.
In terms of protein producers in the area, farm pressed chicken we use as much as we can. Yankee Flats Meats, Lydia and Scott, we do a lot with them now going forward. We'll be featuring some of their product in the future, and kind of partnering with them for certain specialty cuts that I think a lot of people won't ever have seen cooked. So yeah, that'll be a pretty cool avenue to explore. But yeah, like I said, like there's just so many different farms and producers, and like you just drive around. If you drive out to White Lake, you drive down Silver Creek, you drive out Canoe, there's farm stands everywhere. You just stop and grab eggs, garlic, onions, whatever.
I love that. We had Becky from Holy Campus on the podcast, and she was talking about, because we live on Foothills Road, and like if you need eggs, you just walk down the road and there's like 4 different places to get eggs. And I just love that. I love that about living here for sure. Can you talk about like sort of the typical sort of setting that you create for people with Cahoots for catering?
I would say like, we're pretty adaptable. I'm not going to force an event or style an event on someone that I don't think suits it.
Yeah.
And not in terms of their personality, but in terms of what they're looking for. Like we do everything. Like we've done caviar with potato chips down to like fancy hot dogs. Like there's just this like wide range of what we'll do. And I think the biggest thing for us is like comfort, and people, coming to an event that they feel like, okay, I'm ready to be at this event. I feel comfortable at this event because of, what we've brought to create it that way.
Yeah.
So I think, putting on an event that is tailored to what it should be and what people's expectations are is kind of,
is what you do.
What we try to do. Yeah.
You're successful. And you work with a lot of organizations in town. Like, you do a lot of events for the community, a lot of fundraisers, that kind of thing. So
yeah.
I don't know if there's any special ones that you think about or things that come to mind for community involvement.
I don't know. We do Lobster Fest every year, which I think is a great one.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago we donated a late night snack to Bollywood.
Oh yeah.
And we did. We gave a couple dinners to that, which raised a shocking amount of money in the thing. So
it's the way that's like that community thing again, right? Like we're all in it. Another conversation I had just recently was just that local dollars that like $1 spent locally is 63 cents back into the community, and you do a really good job of just constantly coming back and giving back to the community. So, which thanks on behalf of all of us. So, okay, Spencer, you have this catering company. It's going well. Then you have a little bit of a transition into a new thing. You want to speak about how Cahoots is changing?
The thing I said I'd never do. Yeah, it's great, right?
Hey, you got to do everything once.
Yeah, you got to do something with your life.
Yeah.
This might as well be it. So I think at the back of your head, you're always thinking what's next as a business owner. And you're like, okay, how do we grow, but how do we grow sustainably?
Yeah.
And how do we grow so it's not, gonna A, cripple you, or B, just kill you.
Yeah.
So, I've been looking for a different project, and I'd gone down, looking at some spaces and being like, oh, like, what do I want to open, and what does Salmon Arm need? And I looked at a spot, I guess it's just off Ross, and it just didn't work with the building and code and what we wanted to do. And I made a joke to the landlord. I said, well, if the corner of McLeod and Hudson ever comes available, I'll take it the next day. And he kind of laughed. He's like, oh, that'll never come up. Like, that's that. 6 months later, he's like, so, space is available. And I said, oh, God. I guess I kind of put my foot in my mouth. So, yeah, I started looking at that, and it just kind of, again, just started rolling and progressing. And said, yeah, we'll do it. So, yeah, I guess we're opening a multifaceted restaurants that's, 5,000 square feet of everything right now. So
it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. And the great location, like you said on McLeod and Hudson, you're right across from the art gallery. We have a lot of events that happen there, and Hudson's a pretty bustling street now. So
I think that street's I think that street's really picking up. Like Skookum, just with their rebrand, you got Pink Cherry up there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to draw more foot traffic up there.
Yeah.
That I think are great.
Yeah.
And just expanding the downtown core even more.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to say too much, but I want to also probe you a little bit on this, because there's also a unique partnership that you've got with this illustration.
Yeah. So in the space, coming as Lower Red Hen, which I would assume most people in Salmon Arm are familiar with. They've been operating for 20 years.
Yeah.
In the theater. Yeah. So it's great to have, we're going to have a downtown bakery again in Salmon Arm, which, is a big thing. Like I grew up here. Like I remember Cahoots and the Blue Canoe and Choices. Like I remember these spots that I'm like, oh man, like it was so great. And that's kind of one of the things that, fueled this decision to chat with Janice about coming into the space and figuring out how, not only can she bring that in and have it so it's sustainable for the future as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's just the community over competition sort of aspect with it. And you're right, like we needed that element in downtown again.
Yeah.
And for those on listening that don't know about Red Hen, you mentioned the 20 years, but a very good reputation with her products, with her bread products, and does cookies and granola and all these other shades. So like there's so much that will add to that space. So you've kind of got that daytime, you've got that sort of morning, and you've got sort of that Salmon Arm style nightlife.
Yeah. And Salmon Arm nightlife is like, okay, like chuck a lights at 8:30.
Yes, it is.
Get too crazy.
No. Maybe a picnic until it's dark, but that's about it.
We'll see. No, it's like you said about like the quality of Little Red Hen. Like I think that was my thing. I was like, I know this product. I know the high standards they have and the quality of the product. Yeah. So I was comfortable doing that. I was like, okay, this is something I'm totally into. Like, this is such an asset. And having it so now we'll be doing breakfast. Like we have a full coffee program coming. And it'll be a balance of you can come in and have, eggs from Keenan Family Farms on our sourdough that was made 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can have, some brisket with hash browns and eggs and a Caesar. So it's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. You can do either or.
You can do either or, Spencer. That's the truth of it.
For sure.
I love that. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. So, coming in 2025 is sort of our excitement on that.
Yeah, I'd say within the next 2 to 14 weeks we'll be open.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Good window?
That's a really good window.
Yeah.
I was thinking December 20th, maybe we're going to do Christmas Day.
Dude, if we're not open by December, we're never open. So let's put it that way.
The excitement is brewing. I know we're all excited about it. And so that's great. I'd love to hear a little bit about also just like community sort of connections that you've made to help grow your business.
Sure.
So I know that you've used Zest Commercial Food Hub as a bit of a a conduit to this new venture. So maybe just speaking a little bit about that asset for a business in small community. Like a lot of communities don't have those kind of resources to use. So just love to hear your thoughts on coming into realizing that's.
I was in 210 square feet of loft, a little front office. It was great. I started, I rented I was an anchor tenant there for, I don't know, 2 years? Yeah, probably 2 years.
Yeah.
Which was great. It was hilarious. It was, sometimes it was a kitchen, sometimes it was a bar for my friends to come. And I just it was just the vessel and the incubator that really, you spend time in there, and you have such a finite amount of area that you really have no choice but to focus on your business.
Yeah.
And focus on how it works, how it doesn't. You learn hard lessons, you make stupid mistakes. And also, so it being at Zest, it also connected us with a lot of other people in similar fields. In our hilarious little hallway, we had Kate from Flake. So, on days of events, I'd go down, I'd pick up our dessert from her. I'd go to the end, get bread from Amanda, come back, load up, head out. We'd all meet in the dish pit. We'd, chat about events, clients, sources, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it really, it just kind of, it helped in a way that it would stimulate you to think about things that you might not consider.
Yeah.
Or how to approach certain things or products or, just different avenues to grow your business.
Yeah. I love that. It was interesting when you said that it actually made you focus really on your business, like because of the sort of, what is it? Not like the confinement, but like just having the constraints of having such limited space. And I kind of love that because the whole point of Zest is it's an incubator.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you can come in as a rotating tenant, use it as your need. Maybe you're an anchor tenant like yourself that needs that permanent space that you can come in at midnight or 6 a.m. And leave your equipment, but you still have access to other equipment. But the whole point of it is that we then get people prepared and kind of squeezed out that this no longer works for you. Yeah. You're at a point where now you need your 5,000 square foot building. Yeah. And so I love that transition, happened for you. And I think that's pretty neat too. Okay, Spencer, I'd love to, not to put a downer on it, but
sure.
Just talking about like challenges as a business owner, we all have our unique challenges. Is there anything that comes to mind for you that you can speak to? And maybe just how the community supported you through those times?
I think there's just challenges, being in Salmon Arm too with where we're located. In terms of getting delivery from certain suppliers, we're at the bottom of the list. You get bad weather, trucks are delayed, you get, shorted, they're gonna, Salmon Arm is the area that, I would say is often thought of last for us in certain supply chain issues. But, if last summer, a couple times I'd wake up to an email being like, hey, you're shorted X amount of brisket. And, from a lens of community, I could call Craig up at Grillers and be like, hey man, I'm shorted a case of briskets. Can I grab one from you and replace it Tuesday? And it was no problem. Stuff like that, right? Or it's, again, shorted whatever. And you call a different caterer, you call a restaurant, I'd be like, hey, can I piggyback on this? Or can I, that's one challenge, but I think it's, it's often resolved through, other people in the community. All the time, I'd get stuff sent to them because they'd have a truck coming before month or something like that, right? And it's, send a text to Cass and Ray and be like, okay, I need this. And, they do it for me too. If I'm at Costco, they need something, we'll pick it up and bring it back. I think that's one thing that was at the start, I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? And you just figure it out.
Yeah.
But in terms of business challenges, I don't I mean, there's obviously challenges in anything you're doing where you're putting yourself out there and taking risks of events, but I think like this town shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does. I know. It's interesting you were talking about the transportation, because most people actually spin that as a positive of like our location being on the Trans-Canada.
Yeah.
Like we're halfway between Calgary and Vancouver, and we've got the international airports within an hour, and that seems to always be a thing. So it's actually kind of interesting, because I guess there is, there's disruptions or mudslides or whatever. I remember when that happened with Merritt, it was a big challenge. But I love that the community steps in and kind of helps with that. Is there anything like just advice that you would give to somebody thinking about opening a business in Salmon Arm specifically? Like we are a pretty unique community. We're 20,000, we're not this big bustling center. So I would love to hear any perspective or advice for a future business owner.
Yeah. Don't open a restaurant up there. I don't know. I think the biggest, I'm not one to give advice to people. I think it's, if you have a dream that you want to do, I think just the biggest thing I would say is do the research before, in terms of what we have and what we need.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a huge thing for small towns anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not one to tell someone what to do, but I think it's, look into, what we have and what you can add.
Yeah.
If you have a dream and Salmon Arm already has that, maybe look and be okay, how can I pivot from mine, but still incorporate a lot of what we want to do.
Yeah. And that's neat because you also mentioned prior, you were with your catering, you're I don't say what we're doing. I try and make you comfortable with my food.
Yeah.
You can bring the talent, but they bring the ideas or you can help with those ideas. But at the end of the day, you're really you're just I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And so that advice really pairs well with what you already do, and you've done it successfully. So, and the research part is interesting because, I've heard before about people just going on Shuswap, everything friendly goes, and just being what about this idea? Sure, 500, 600 people being yes, no, or whatever. Yeah. And literally the community saying, we need this or we don't, And that's an interesting thing just to be aware of your surroundings and know what,
Yeah.
The research is important for sure.
Nothing like Facebook.
Unlike Facebook.
Yeah.
To give an opinion.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so Spencer, what about just living in Salmon Arm for you? So when you're not running your business, when you're not doing business, what keeps you busy in Salmon Arm?
My family. I have 2 kids, 2 daughters. That keeps me busy.
Keeps you busy.
5 and 2. I don't know what else I do. I play hockey in the winter, golf in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
golf is you've got a love for golf.
Yeah.
And for
it's a bit sick, but yeah.
But you've also got some really nice golf courses, so we're sure you may as well.
National Salmon Arm. Yeah. They're a bunch. Yeah, it's I don't know what else we do.
I still don't know bike.
It's alright. You bike. Let's say go for walks.
Yeah.
Go look at the grebes. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. With the kids, I lived on the Foreshore Trail when my kids were young. It was we're going to the Foreshore Trail again today, kids. We're going to bust 5 hours out here, and it's going to be amazing. All the birds, yeah, for sure. Okay, if you were to tell somebody about a hidden gem within Salmon Arm, what would it be?
The Legion, for sure.
Oh, snap. Oh, hey.
Coldest.
Tell me more.
Coldest beers.
Coldest beers.
The best. I'd say the Legion for sure is probably. I kind of like the Legion too because people don't really know me there. Yeah. So I get to go in.
It's the opposite of Cheers.
It is, yeah.
That's unique.
Yeah. So, I'll text. There's a few of us that, like to frequent there on a Thursday at 2:00 for a quick safety meeting.
Okay.
I just think it's, it's a great cause. It's a great spot. It's close to downtown. You can walk there.
Yeah.
If I don't really want tourists going there, so just get everyone to go there. But no, I that's my hidden gem, I would say.
Yeah.
In terms of other spots that, in Salmon Arm that we go, we go to Anvil quite a bit. We go to Hanoi for for lunch. Or I think I eat at Big Cherry like 4 times a day right now.
I feel like you eat out, like you really do the rounds. Like I always see you, you're at Cotan, you're at Thai, like
Oh, okay, I don't eat that much. Jeez.
I just think of it more as community support center. Nothing bad about it. I also eat out a lot because there are a lot of good options.
Yeah.
And more coming.
Yeah.
What time of year is your favorite in Salmon Arm?
Oh, October. Yeah, like end of September. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of September, I would say, is like probably I like right now too. Like it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Is fall, like, is that golf related at all?
I think it's more just like pace of life related.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that golf is. I mean, golf's included in everything. So it's definitely
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'd say just like, town slows down, it quiets down, our business slows down. You get, I think like I'd say mid-August, you're just like craving routine.
Yeah.
I am anyway.
Yeah. I mean, your business model, like you are so busy in summer that I can imagine the reprieve would be nice.
Yeah, September hits and you're like, okay, like, we get back into the swing of things and then you're like, okay, it's slower down. And I think like October, like, it is so nice.
Yeah.
You can still do everything with, a quarter of the people. And
the congestion that happens. Yeah. No, it's definitely, I think that it's probably my favorite time of year is the fall too. Like I've asked a few other people on the podcast and fall is like, it's a hot one, like not climate wise, but just, the pleasure that you get out of being here in the fall and all the colors and just everything. How do people get in touch with you for catering? Like how listeners, are now interested, how do they talk to Spencer?
Best is through email.
Okay.
Yeah. Email is always the best. You can follow us on Instagram. It's Eat Cahoots. We have a website, eatcahoots.ca.
Okay, we'll make sure to put that all in the
Perfect, just right.
the things right below, whatever the line, the fold.
But yeah, like all of our stuff, we have forums online too. Fill out if you want catering.
Okay.
That's
Brilliant. Okay, so we have now arrived at what we call rapid fire.
Sure.
So rapid fire is a portion of the podcast where I'm just going to throw questions at you and you're just going to give me answers.
Okay.
And so we're going to start with, Salmon Arm has a tagline. It's called Small City Big Ideas.
Sure.
If you were to rebrand that tagline, Small City Big
Briskets.
Yeah. Okay. This might be a really hard one for you. I hope it's a hard one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite song right now? Because I know you're a big music.
Ooh. The Great Resolution by Ken Yates. I'm listening to it like too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Greatest
Resolution. He has a new album coming out next week.
Okay.
He's from my former hometown, London, Ontario.
Okay.
Ken Yates.
Wait.
Yeah.
We're gonna look for this.
Yeah, it's super depressing and sad. So just like
Okay.
sink in.
Okay. I love this. And then this one might be really also challenging. I sure hope it's challenging.
Yeah.
Just like first that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Paul Simon or Van Morrison.
That is so tough. Van Morrison.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that was going to slice that way. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Salmon Arm, we have some of the shortest commute times in the province.
Okay.
It's 10 minutes to everywhere.
Yeah.
What's your shortest commute?
Like to work?
Could be to work, could be to Anvil, it could be to...
I mean, my work to my house I think it's less than a kilometer. That is very
short.
I mean, right now, my shortest commute is from my desk to Big Cherry. It's like...
Perfect, across the street.
I think it's like 78 steps.
78 steps, is your shortest commute. I love it. A shout out to any local heroes in the community that you just love.
Oh, Roy Sakaki for sure.
Oh, Roy!
My boy Roy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Roy. Yeah, for sure.
People won't know any reference to that, but
Well, I'll be here 4 hours, do a knock on his door, and you can sit in his office, and he'll tell your story.
At the rink in the Salmon area. Okay, so... Whoa.
Okay.
What temperature should your medium rare steak
Yes.
be when it's cooked?
When it's pulled or when it's rested?
Ooh, good question.
Pull at 133, 35, depending on the thickness, how you cooked it. Well, yeah, mid 130s.
Okay. Love it. And last question.
Here,
Salty or sweet?
salty.
Salty.
Always.
Amazing. Keep it salty. Keep it salty. Spencer, thank you so much. I really appreciate your insights. We're excited for, with the whole grand opening of your restaurant. You've done amazing things in the community. I know people are going to be excited to listen to this, so thanks for being here.
Thanks, Kate Watson.